when it comes to 30 years, 20 years and above, people are checking their account to see how they are doing. As usual, my name is Ahumuza Emmanuel, Councillor Ahumuza Emmanuel. I'm delighted and blessed today to be hosting other knowledgeable and senior in terms of level in your professional, not professional language. I have two professional and senior lawyers, advocates, whom I'm going to unveil to you today. And our topic today is going to be rape as a sexual offense. We're going to debate on this sexual offense called rape. And we know most of you have heard about it, or have been victim, or have ever been accused, or you have your relative that who is suffering in jail. Somehow he did it, or either he did not do it. So today we are going to discuss the rape in a wider scope, so that you can assess yourself and tell whether you are a person whom you know did it or not, or whether the victim was not given justice when she came to court, because mostly they are always female. And from that, you will appreciate law and you appreciate this discussion. I want to invite at this moment our discussants, our guests, to introduce themselves. And as usual, the protocol in an international way is always ladies first. So I want to request the lady to first introduce herself, to tell us what's her name, where she works, and her bibliography probably, so that the viewers outside there, they will know you and where to find you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator, for the opportunity.
Okay.
Our dear listeners and our viewers, good evening to all of you. My name is Akankunda Salima.
Okay.
I am a practicing advocate and Lubega Babu and co-advocates. I thank the moderator for the opportunity that has been given to me to tackle this serious issue on rape that has been escalating in our society these days.
Okay.
So we welcome everyone to join in with us so that we can be able to address. So if there is anything that is not understood, we will be able, on any sexual comment maybe you want to make, we will gladly be in position to answer you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Maybe before you hand over the mic, I want to know two things, as I'm representing the viewers outside there. Number one, I want to know your experience. Number two, I want you to give us the exact location of your office, so that when I'm coming to Masindi to look for you, that I'm looking now for counsel or senior counsel Salma, where do I find her? Thank you so much.
Yeah, for our offices are located on Sebagala Road. The most of you call it the former legal aid office, but the moment you reach Destiny Pub, you will be able to locate the office. Then the experience, as he asked, I have been in practice for 4 years now.
Okay.
I have been able to handle cases concerning of rape, this same topic we are yet to discuss. So you feel free to ask any question, so long as it is related to the topic.
Or sexual,
yes,
sexual
or
offense.
Yes, concerning rape.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Yes, the big man. Today we have a panel which is balanced. Not men alone, not ladies alone. Like last week we had only ladies alone. But I'm happy today we have a balanced panel. So I would like to invite our second discussant to introduce himself and let our viewers know him thoroughly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator.
Okay.
And we send our thanks to the management of Elkem TV station. My name's Mangeni Denis, working with Ayton Advocates, situated in Masindi, along Port Road, on a building called Hallelujah House.
Former Centenary Building.
Former Centenary Building.
Bank, yes.
I should say that I am so much honored to be with us here to share with us all what we know about the topic at hand concerning rape. Rape is wide, and it appears to be a vice in our communities. So let's pray that our being here will send a signal, and we shall be in position to educate one another, such that if tomorrow it happens to a relative or a friend, you are in position to know what to do or where to run to. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, so already our panelists have already introduced themselves, and I know the viewers outside there are already burning with questions. You go to our comment section on our YouTube, our Facebook channel, and we shall be able to have your comments read, your questions, and also, in addition, have them all answered today. We know the time is not our best ally, but we shall try as much as possible to work within time so that we may meet your demands. So today we have a topic of rape, and we know rape is defined under the Penal Code Act, Section 123. That's why we find this offense called rape, and it has even its punishments. When you read Section 123, it gives a definition, a thorough definition of rape. Probably we may not go into reading word per word. I would love Mr. Denis to give the viewers the understanding of the definition of rape, because the people, most of them outside there, others are not lawyers, others are lay people who want at least to have a knowledge of what rape is. So we shall sometimes leave aside our legal language, and we go to understanding of what the viewers may take back home. So how would you understand by rape in the context of Section 123 of the Penal Code Act? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. That having been said, practically, rape refers to having unlawful sexual intercourse.
Yes. All right.
With saying unlawful sexual intercourse, this refers to one, forcing a partner to have sex. With a partner, I'm referring to both genders. That's a male and a female gender. The other thing which we have to know under this definition, though we are not going into reading
detailed
letter per letter, rape occurs whereby the victim was above 18 years of age. So, once there is forceful sexual intercourse, we say that rape has been committed. Once there is withdrawal of consent, for our listeners or viewers, consent is withdrawing your acceptance or your permission, refusing to have sexual intercourse. Then we say that there have been rape. Under the same definition, we look at who can rape and who can be raped.
Okay. Maybe for now, let's just give a chance to this good-looking counsel. You also give us your take. What do you understand by rape? The man has given us his view of understanding what rape is, isn't it?
Yes.
Now we want to see what is also your understanding of rape as an advocate.
Okay, thank you very much, moderator.
You're welcome.
Before maybe I answer what the law says, rape itself, by the way, it is an immoral act. Which immoral act? It is condemned by God.
Okay.
So you may say rape maybe it only started today in laws. No. This rape, it is an immoral act that has been a command from God way back before even our laws were enacted.
Okay.
For those who have your Bibles, you can read Deuteronomy chapter 22 from verse 25 to 28.
Pardon?
They can read the Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 25 to 28. Yes. So this same rape as being defined under the law, it is an act of forcing someone.
Maybe before you go there, what does
Yes.
the Bible say about it? How does the Bible condemn it?
In fact, this condemnation about this rape, its purpose was meant to protect women, and was protect women and the nation of Israel from committing those sinful actions
Or immoral
at
acts.
the time. Yes. So that's why we borrow that immorality act and turn it to our laws now to make it an offense.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, please.
Now, rape as it is under the law, like the moderator requested, we should put it into the
Layman understand.
yes, so that you'll be able to understand this
yes.
is an act of forcing a person. I'm talking about either a woman or a man who is of adult age
Yes.
into performing a sexual act with that person, that you can call it sexual intercourse against his or her will. Against his or her will. Now, this will we are talking about, it is consent. You have sexual act with someone without their consent. We are not looking at only lack of consent. In fact, the law goes ahead to provide, you might get the consent, but because you have intimidated this person, or maybe you've threatened, or maybe you've used tricks to obtain that sex from this person, it is also looked at as rape without her will.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, how do you how can you make me a layman understand what, because we see under the elements of rape, we have an embodiment of unlawful canon knowledge.
Yes.
Now, a person outside there want to understand what's canon knowledge.
In fact, thank you very much. If I was to put that in the layman's language, when we talk about canon knowledge, we are talking about penetration. Penetration of a man's private part into a woman's private part. That is the canon knowledge.
So long as you cover yourself here, you presume
in
all
law.
private parts. Now, because we know with the law we are specific.
Yes.
You see, we are specific. So nowadays with the current section of homosexuality and lesbianism,
Yes.
so we cannot just private parts. We need to be specific.
Okay.
So please.
Thank you very much,
You're welcome.
moderator. Yeah, our good listeners, I'm sorry, but I'm not speaking it in bad faith, but we are talking about the penetration of a vagina with a man's private part, which is a penis.
Oh, okay.
So that is the canon knowledge we are talking about
Now.
of a woman.
Now, you see, you have raised a good point. Before we go to any other ingredient, we are seeing other species, I call them species, coming up, calling themselves the LGBT. I don't know in full what he's saying, but they are saying they have rights. I was seeing on TV a man who married himself. He dressed like partly like a woman and partly like a man, I think in Canada, and he married himself. I saw a man to man wedding. So, with this vice in society that is really decaying, morally decaying, can a same-sex also accuse the other of rape? Because we are looking at penetration, we are looking at canon knowledge, which is penetration, we are looking at consent, we are looking at fear of bodily harm and the ingredients of rape. We are looking at also the false representation. Take, for example, I come and falsely represent to be a husband, yet I'm not the one. We are also looking at married people, someone who personates to be your husband. You understand? So, looking at all these ingredients, can a same-sex person also claim rape under these ingredients?
Yeah, maybe to put it clear, like the definition states, it is about penetration of
Female?
of male to female. And this rape we are talking about, it excludes the anus and it also excludes the oral sex, that is the mouth. So when you put your private part in the mouth, that does not amount to rape.
Okay.
And if you put it in the anus, it does not
Amount
to rape. So like you've been hearing on TVs, there is that law that has been put in place to be able to handle that part. But I'm sorry, I will not be able to go into details until maybe next time when we get another chance to talk on that same topic.
All right.
But for today, maybe to let our viewers know, we are talking about penetration of a penis into the vagina. We are excluding the anus, the penetration of the anus, and the mouth.
Yes. Now, back to Mr. Denis. Maybe you have some take on that too.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For that question. First of all, you have referred to marriages. Those marriages, I think they are outside our jurisdiction. That's the first thing. They are happening somewhere else.
Not in Uganda.
Not in Uganda.
But remember, we are guided by under common laws, isn't it? Under common laws, we are seeing common law countries that really brought those laws into our country. They are the one practicing it. That's why I asked that same question. Because now, if we are going to change the laws, that means we have to go away with some other laws that the colonialists or the commonwealth people brought to us.
Secondly, our laws, that's the Penal Code Act, Cap 120 laws of Uganda, is very silent when it comes to LGBTQ. So our laws have not yet accommodated the minority groups. And as my colleague has put it right, that there is a bill pending to be assented into law. So we may not deliberate much into that.
All right.
Besides, I have a conviction that it becomes unnatural for a man to marry a fellow man. And I have addressed my mind to unnatural offenses under the Penal Code.
Oh yes.
I would hold a considered view that if such a person came up, then to see that justice runs a two-way traffic. That is justice to be done and to be seen to have been done. I would proceed under unnatural offenses. And I see that the vice is curbed down, pending the assentment of the bill.
Yeah, actually, you see, as the law is silent on those acts, immoral acts, immoral sexual acts, now we're looking at, I've seen children, boys coming up, crying out to the society to be helped. We know the law hasn't yet provided for those kind of offenses. But now we have already people who are being molested. Now, the question is, how can such somebody be helped? Which law will help him get justice?
And this is what I was referring to. When you look at Section 145 of the Penal Code Act, it talks of unnatural offenses. And this will take me direct to whatever is done, which is not in line of nature, becomes the contrary. So, if a younger boy has been molested sexually, to save him, then I would proceed under this section and I see how he can get justice. Yes.
Now, on the same issue, we are seeing a lot talking about only female being raped. Are there no room for men to be also who can be raped and also issue or file those offenses?
We have lived to learn that we have other body mechanisms which come up with laws. We have judgment laws, and under judgment laws we have got case law, where the definition of rape has been modified, and under the modification we find that male gender has also been accommodated.
Okay.
And under such circumstances, I hold the view that a male can be raped.
But there was also a debate on the biological nature that a man cannot be raped when he is not willingly. Because remember, by the nature of a man, you have to willfully put yourself into that mode, isn't it, for erection to happen? Because you cannot rape when there is no erection for a man. And unlike for a woman, it can happen because their nature is different from ours. So maybe council.
Before we go to council,
yes,
we have looked at an element of consent being withdrawn.
Yes.
Yeah. So at an instance where consent has been withdrawn, and the female insists, I would believe that from that point, where a male says, no, I don't want, and the female insists, then he will be raped.
Council Salima, the same question I'm going to ask you. We have had where men, young men, have been raped by older women. They give them sedatives to erect and forcefully rape them, use them. Let me use that word. They use them. For example, they threaten them, and maybe they tell you, if you don't, I will do this and this. So they have given you already a sedative, and then you cannot control your body normally. So, what is your take on that?
Thank you very much for that question. I'm sorry that I've been asked a question of men, but I'm not a man, but this is my take on the same. My take would be, I think the public needs to be sensitized more. That also boy child should know that he can't be raped. Then the other problem we are having, people are looking at it in the biological. He can't be raped.
He can be raped.
Yes, he can't be raped. Then the other thing, people should change the perspective of looking at the biological nature of how men and women are made differently. Like my colleague put it, and you also added a voice to it, that since it is men who are supposed to be initiating this from day one, so people believe that in fact a man cannot be raped. And then I would also encourage our brothers that please, if such a thing happens, come up and talk for yourself. Because this is why these things are not coming up in law or maybe to be implemented, because men are in hiding. They are not coming up to tell their part of the story. But it is really true that men can be raped.
But the problem is, the law is talking about penetration.
Yes.
How will you determine penetration in a man who claims to be raped?
Maybe to answer that, because the way I am looking at penetration, I would look at it in a way that, to me, it would work whether for both sides. And the penetration we are looking at, it doesn't matter whether deep, however slight that penetration is.
Yes, but for a man,
yes.
Because for a woman, it can be determined.
Yes.
Even by medically, it can be determined. But how do you determine a man? Maybe Mr. Denis can help us. How can you determine a penetration when a man says, I'm being raped? Now we are looking at the medical evidence, medical report evidence, that this person has been, because we know for a woman, they look at the broken hymen, they can find a discharge, isn't it? You also look at the maybe injuries caused, isn't it? Maybe even also we add on the struggle. But now remember here, man, they're not going to find a discharge. Because by your make, you discharge out. You not receive. Now, even the penetration, how would you as a lawyer help this person who says I'm being raped as a man?
Thank you, moderator.
You're welcome.
I'm in position to see where you are heading.
Yes.
Dear viewers, let's get this right. The question is, a woman who doesn't have what to penetrate, how will a man claim that he has been raped by a woman? This what happens. A man has been induced into sex. Having been induced into sex, he withdraws his consent. And by the time he had been induced into sex, I want to believe that the woman was ready for sex. There was no struggle while penetrating. There was no struggle. So the issue is, how will you prove
Penetration.
We have
rape,
we have vaginal fluids, which will be on the male organ. Forensic has proved it that if investigations have been handled within the timely manner by swapping those vaginal fluids and submitting the samples to government analytical laboratory, then that can help to determine the DNA of the woman, whether the vaginal fluids are for the woman
or for a man,
or for that woman.
Yes.
Whether the vaginal fluid found on the male sexual organ are for
a man,
for the woman.
Now, my question, you see, you have brought it very well, because we're looking at now, that will bring us to chain evidence and scientific evidence. Number one, by the time a male, because remember, the God created us differently. For a woman can keep that semen at least for some good time. That by the time he reaches the hospital, the semen are still there, isn't it?
Yes.
But for a man, by the time you put on your trouser, they're going to be dry or somehow rubbed off. That's number one. I want us to get clear. So
can I answer number one?
Yes, scientifically, you're looking at how the swapping. I think the swapping will be based on the fresh one. Because when they're swapping, they will have to get this. Unless, otherwise, maybe you have another way of proving scientifically that what happened, it was for this woman.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is what happens when they do the swapping. One, they draw blood sample from the woman. Then they do the swapping from either the male sex organ or the trouser. If the male sex organ had maybe he had cleaned himself, investigators know better how they lift. They call it lifting. They have some chemical they use to lift that evidence.
Cement. Scientific evidence.
Yes. After lifting it from either the cloth, or they can submit even the cloth to girl, including the blood sample drawn from the woman. So they will compare the DNA of the whitish substance they found on the cloth and the DNA. Once they find the connection, the matching, then what evidence will they need other than sending the file to state?
So this in Uganda is almost to rare case that can be done because due to our financing, the funds sent to the police to do that scientific evidence. Because now, my take is, we have had rape cases, even defilement, whereby some incidents happen that other people are always condemned wrongly when they are not the ones. Reason being, you say that I raped so and so. A raped X, and the doctor says semens in the medical report, semens were found. Now the question which remains in the minds of the court or the litigants, whose semens? Because later, after all, there's no medical scientific evidence proves the DNA of the semen they found.
Let's agree on one thing. That one, we have all these services in Uganda. When you go to government analytical laboratory, all these services are there. But the challenge we have is the swiftness. This goes to both the public and our institutions, per se police.
Yes.
Within which time period am I going to report this incident? Yeah? Having reported, yeah? Within which time will the investigators pick up and forward this evidence to government analytical laboratory?
Yes.
Yeah? So we have grown up in a system whereby we do desk investigation. Yeah? A complainant has come, I have been raped, I record the statement, I take you to a nearby clinic, that doctor says semen's found. But again, if I would say that the investigator thought outside the box, yeah, semen's are found. At that point, that doctor who writes such a report is supposed to do what we call swabbing. Eh? After swabbing, he's supposed to preserve that evidence for purposes of forwarding it to government analytical laboratory for further
Investigation.
Forensic investigation. So, and that's why I will thank the management of this TV station for bringing up such topics, because we sensitize both the public and where need be our lovely institution. So if one thought outside the box that doctor is talking of semens being found, what is next? Doctor, can we do swapping? Yeah? Can we rush? Yeah? Let's call back the victim. Let's have the suspect examined. We normally call them police form 24. Yeah? Let's have them examined. Yeah? Let's also get their blood samples. Yeah? And in sexual offenses, once you are armed with all this forensic evidence, chances are high that you will place the accused person at the scene. Yes, moderator.
Okay. Maybe Council Salima, what is your also view on that?
Yeah, my view on, maybe to add on what my colleague already submitted, when you look at evidence, it is only, in fact, only now we are looking at it in general. We have left the other side of boy and girl. Most victims of rape, we have really found should I call it a big problem? Some of you yourselves, you kill your own evidence, in fact, without knowing. They rape you, instead of running to the nearest police station at that moment, you go, you shower, you wash the so-called clothes either in blood or something. If it is a bed sheet, like, so it really becomes hard to trace, like he said. It becomes hard to swap.
Okay.
Whose blood is it? Whose semen is it? And sometimes, the good thing, there is always a suspect. But not every time that, in fact, the suspect is the person who committed the offense. Yes. Now, that one brings me to another very important issue. That as we look at the carnal knowledge, the having sex, the lack of consent, either they got it from you through intimidation, whether trickery, you have to make sure the person you're putting up as a suspect, in fact, is the one that that the one who performed the sexual act. You might prove all the other, but so long as this person is not the one, or there is no evidence to prove that he's the one, Like he said, if they took it to forensic and it is not this person who really raped you, automatically he will go. Because so every other ingredient, this one of having the person you are accusing or the suspect as the person who participated is very key. In fact, it is one of the key ingredients of this offense.
Actually, you bring me to the question. Actually, the question is related to identification.
Yes.
How or which procedure does court take in identifying, or which procedure should the prosecution, because now it's the prosecution's case, right? Now, take for example, the prosecutor. What should be your best in identification to make sure that you have a higher chance of placing the accuser at the scene?
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator, for that question. Now, there are some guidelines that have been put down in so many decided cases concerning the conditions under which identification can be proper or not proper. And maybe my viewers, I think you have, those who have been at police, you have seen identification parades. They normally call these suspects outside. So you come, they ask, do you identify this one? You're like, I know him. But now the question would be, how do you know this man you have identified?
Or for how long?
Yes, so one would be, are you familiar with this person? Did you know this person before this act? Do you know this person at that moment? Okay. If you know this person, how long have you known this person? Then, the time. Because when you see someone during daytime, even if you don't know this person, it becomes for you is at least to remember, to familiarize with their face, than someone who saw me in the night for the very first time. Now we are looking at the light. Was it dim? Was it dark? We are looking at the distance. We are talking about rape. I believe that is a very close distance. If you knew this person before, you can be in position to know that so and so is the one who did this act. Yes. Then we are also looking at the clothes someone was putting on at the time. Because someone can commit an act right now putting on red. And by the time they identify this man is putting on black. So at that time, and those clothes, he has to own them. It is not just a matter of saying he was putting on red.
Okay.
Yes. We need to know.
You remind me of the we are looking at a chain of evidence, and our PA was telling us, so one of the judicial notice mentioned to the under magistrates court, they brought liquor as evidence, and in times of disposal, the magistrate told them, please take it and dispose it at my place. So when they reached there, they consumed it. And another one was that in Port Potro, where they arrested the jerkers of fuel as evidence. So by the time they reached them at court, there was water in the jerkers, but there was no fuel. There was the person who was the accused person had to be set free, because now you say I stole fuel, but in the jerrycan there's water. So really, viewers, it's very, very, very key to keep your evidence untouched, and where possibly involve the police to be the one in charge. Because in court, it will be the person handling evidence, isn't it? The person who handling evidence at police. Yeah. Maybe you can say about it.
Thank you, and thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think I should start with add something what my colleague was saying.
As we prepare for comments, yeah.
One, identification starts from the time you come to complain at the desk, at the reception at police. You'll be asked who committed this offense. Then you'll be in position to narrate, I know this person, he's A, B, or C. Or I can identify this person by mere looking at him. How is he? Is he tall or short? Are you getting? So in that process, you will record your statement. If he's an unknown person, then it will be recorded this person is unknown. for the investigators to know what to do. Now, someone has been arrested. Let's say this offense of rape was committed at night. You were unable to properly identify this person. But they have arrested the suspect. At that time is not an accused person. Let's be sensitive of human rights.
Okay.
They have arrested the suspect. They are conducting suspects, the identification parade. The procedures have been laid out. If he is short, you are supposed to get all short people around. Yeah?
Yeah.
And you ensure that you put this person, you disguise, you put him in the middle. If the complainant said that this person was putting on a white T-shirt, you have to ensure that all these people are in white T-shirt. The other thing is the person conducting investigation, the investigating officer, is not supposed to be there when they are identifying the what? Should be a different person. And when they bring this complainant to identify the person, is informed, here are suspects we got. Show us the one who committed this alleged offense. So it is the complainant to go and pick up this person, say, this is the person. After picking up the person, that there is a identification parade report, which will have to be signed by both the suspect, the investigating officer, and the complainant. That having been said, what was the other point?
The other point?
Yeah. The other point is who keeps the evidence. We have found challenges. Let me refer to what you talked of fuel. Let me refer to what you talked of liquor. We are here in Bunyoro region. Let me talk of fuel. We are in Bunyoro region. Yes. Chinese, our fellow Chinese are constructing roads. There is a lot of
safety.
Stealing of fuel, yeah, from the Chinese. And what normally happens, once these jerry cans are impounded, are taken to police, they are sometimes handed over to a person called the in-charge stores. Yeah? In-charge stores is the one who has a key, who locks the stores, and he keeps the exhibits. But again, once we recover such exhibits, there is another step. There's a need to get a report that this is fuel. Yeah?
Not water.
Not water. Because as we are keeping this liquid like fuel, it is liquid like fuel, by the way.
Yes.
Because no one has determined that it is fuel.
Fuel or not.
Yes. We need that report which will confirm to court, but that by the way, what
we... forensic also?
Yes, they are not. Everything is normally sent to GAL to come up with that report, because this is a government analytical laboratory. It is situated around Wandegea, opposite the Offices of Public Service.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So everything, once you send there your report, you get what we want. With those in police, they know the forms they fill around the 17 or 17A. Yeah? You get what you want. And once you get that report, even though this liquid like a fuel is disposed, you will have the report to show that what was recovered was liquid. Now, how do we ensure that it is preserved properly? This comes to the chain of evidence. From the point where it was recovered, yeah, we look at what we call scene management. This is done by someone called the SOCO, scene of crime officer.
Yes.
Yeah, who will come, will do the marking of the scene using those yellow marks. Then we say 10 jerry cans were found here. When he brings these exhibits at police
and do mapping, yeah,
these exhibits will be handed over to the storeman. But there is what we call exhibit slip. Are you getting?
They're already triplets.
Yes. They will have to fill the exhibit slip. He signs and shows that these exhibits have been received and they are in store. When they are moving to court, there is also a procedure, movement of exhibits. Yeah. So that in case of anything happens, there is evidence that exhibits were recovered. They were kept in the store where they have disappeared to. Storeman, tell us.
Or maybe the person who signed them out.
Tell us. Yeah? The other question, we on exhibit.
Yes.
Because you chipped in this one of exhibit.
Yeah.
The other question was money. Money, we look at serial numbers. With the money, you record the serial number, even if it is 1 billion. Take your time. Record the serial numbers. If it is 50,000, record all the serial numbers. Today, if they exchange that note with another note, chances are high that defense will be celebrating. Once you tamper with the exhibit, you are killing the case. Yes, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you so much. Yeah, right now, viewers, we are going to do time of comments. Just pray I will come the media team to give me the comments if they are ready. If they are not yet ready, we go to 1 or 2 last questions. Are we ready for comments? Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, viewers, we are reading your comments, and thank you very much. In advance, I thank you. The first comment comes from Charles Bamturaki. Yes, Charles Bamturaki, thank you, Elkem TV. I'm watching live from Soroti District. Do we have any agents or NGO that handles rape in Uganda? Because courts in Uganda sometimes don't help. And also, is court the only option for rape? I think we will just be recording. Yeah. Have you got the question? The last part. The last part, and also, is court the only option for rape? Because so they are asking you whether they are agents or NGOs, and they are people are having no trust or confidence in our judicial system. I don't know why. So that was Bamtrak Charles. Matov Denis, thank you for the show. I'm watching live from Masin Town. Can a woman rape a man, and what can be done to curb that? Thank you, Matovu. I hope you're not the victim. Then also Matovu again said, that is true, counsel. Police is always asking for fuel. I don't know how. Which fuel is it asking for? Is it for transporting or the fuel as evidence? Queen Sheila, I'm watching live from Kampala. Thank you, Sheila. Queen Sheila, we have received your comment. And her question is, what can someone do if they are raped and they are not helped at both police and court? Hopefully this is captured, right? Council Denis, have you got it? Yes. Then the last comment is streaming live from a scene that is Kajux the Pope. Thanks so much, Kajux the Pope. Thank you all viewers and those who have taken time to write their comments. And the questions, we are going to answer them right now. Before we go for the next questions, let's have these questions answered. Thank you so much. Let's begin from Salima, will you? The first question. Thank you. Do we have any agents or NGOs that handles rape in Uganda? Because people are losing confidence, trust in our judicial system, and they are saying, and also is court the only option for rape?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for that question.
That was Charles Bamtraki.
Yeah, thank you very much, Charles. I know you're listening to us and viewing us from wherever you are.
All right.
And also, thanks for tuning in.
Welcome.
Now, Mr. Charles, as the way it is, we don't have that organization, at least I am not aware of it, that is handling rape specifically. It is not there. But at least we have those legal ID projects that oba legal action that can listen to people's queries concerning the law. Yes. And I'm sure at least already there is.
Sure.
There must be like any legal action, like an NGO.
I don't know yet. I'm not addressing my mind for now.
So at least there must be some
maybe
legal.
Denis knows.
Do you have any? Do you have any in Soroti?
Soroti?
Maybe you don't.
Okay.
Yeah, but please be encouraged to come to court. Don't feel that
you can't be helped at court.
Yeah, that you can't be helped at court. Maybe Mr. is called Charles. Mr.
Yes.
Charles, the way you're asking, don't resort to mob justice, please. Don't. At least I know a few things have happened and maybe people feel disappointed. But please, court is the only option. Court is the only option. So if you find any person, maybe like your relative, a friend, who is a victim to this, please.
You can always appeal.
Yeah, no, not before appealing. You can first go to police. If you're not helped, I wouldn't say we give numbers because you're far. We may not be able to help. But at least reach some. If you feel you are at police and you're not helped, there are people who are the bosses of those men, maybe all the police officers you find at the desk. You can always address your point either to the OC or DPC. Yeah, or maybe write your complaint.
OCID.
Yes, OCID. Write your complaint. If you're not helped, there are other officers that
can still do
can still do the same, but please, court is the only option.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
maybe you will let also if you have something to add on.
Thank you,
question,
Mr. Charles from Soroti. This is a practical question, our brother. But let's also agree that helping may be there, but it may not be 100%. If one followed appropriate channels, there is always help. But as I know, both of us, we are human beings. Maybe somewhere the help which was given was not satisfactory to what one expected.
All right.
The channels include, after lodging a complaint, don't sit down and relax. Have your file compiled, then have it, make a follow-up with the investigating officer such that your file is sanctioned. Let's not have these allegations, which I can term as false allegations. We have lived to learn that some offenses are normally fabricated for commercial purposes.
Right,
and where this fails, that's when we have not brought evidence which is satisfactory. We claim that we have not been helped.
Okay.
And I may also remind ourselves that the burden is very high. State has to prove beyond reasonable doubt, especially when it comes to rape. So as we plan to lodge our complaints, let's be guided by the investigating officers, by the CIDs, whether the evidence we have can sustain the charge of rape.
Okay. Yeah.
Once you feel you are not contented with what the first desk at police has done, you go to the nearest person, that is the DPC. Where you feel you are not again satisfied, there is a region which takes over that district. You go to the regional CID, who will be there to help you. At the regional basis, these days, police has legal officers, human rights legal officers. You can always approach them. All these are avenues for you to be helped.
Okay.
So, where this matter has gone to court, I know you may want this person to go for the maximum sentence, but court has what we call sentencing guidelines.
Oh, yes.
Where the matter has been mitigated and court has found that the sentence to be awarded is lesser than what you expected, don't feel that you have not been helped. Get back to state, talk to state, and if state feels that it can appeal against that sentence, well and good. But I think there is always help once you have followed the rightful channels.
Yes, yes.
Maybe if that help was not 100%, and in case your person has been acquitted or the case has been dismissed, don't say you have not been helped. That's what I can say in relation to that question.
Okay, maybe to add on what they have said, I think the people in Uganda, or maybe the viewers outside there, the biggest challenge in experience I've seen, people when they report cases, they don't follow up. Sometimes even, there's one time we went to Kiriandongo, there was a case of defilement, whereby the complainants had left it entirely to the prosecution, the state, to do the job, forgetting that it is not the state that is aggrieved. So if you report any criminal case, please follow up. Follow up from the time of lodging your complaint at police, and help the state and the police to ensure that they have a well-compiled file. You understand? So that your evidence is flowing. Sometimes even they call the complainants, come and help us, we will do an additional statement. The person will say, me, I don't have transport. Transport me. To come and, remember, the case is not for the aggrieved party is not the state. The aggrieved party is not the police. But that's why the police say, help the police to help you. The same thing, help the state, help the police to help you. And two, if you feel the police and the state are not helping you as much as you, to your satisfaction, can you add in a private lawyer to work along with the state? So that at least I know with your private lawyer, you'll be satisfied of all the results that will come out. And lastly, always when the case is decided and judgment is made, the judge will always tell you, you have a right to do what? To appeal, isn't it? So if you are dissatisfied with the judgment, you appeal against the judgment, or you appeal against the sentence. Whatever you feel that is not satisfying you, you appeal against it, and to all ranks of the court jurisdiction.
And maybe moderator, I'm sorry to chip in, maybe to add more on that, for the time we've been in practice, we have seen, I will not call victims, but people sometimes who are grieved, they want court to work on their terms. Or maybe court to do what they want them to do. And that is not right.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
We have laws that we follow that are that guide court. For example, like my colleague put it, someone will come, but there is no evidence. You're like, no, this guy raped me. Yeah, he might have raped you, but if there is no evidence, court will not really be in position to know whether the man really raped you or
because
not.
it was not there.
Yeah, so it is not there. We work on evidence, not just because someone just told me I was raped.
Just in 1 minute, sailors, police.
We have this one.
Just the last one.
This one we already answered.
You answered yes.
3 of boys being raped. I think he answered.
Then we already answered that one. Then only the last one we crossed.
That one.
No, the last one for Sheila, is it? Sheila.
Sheila, what can someone
do if raped and not helped at court
and police? Yes.
I guess that question has already been answered in the first. Yes.
Yeah. So
Sheila, maybe my colleague wants to add somebody to this other question of Sheila.
Thank you so much. One, let's
just
agree,
1 minute, right?
Let's agree that people victims of rape are traumatized. They go through a lot. I would look at any element of counseling. We advise that if you have a victim of rape, ensure that you contact a counselor to assist and take through this person, so that this person can come back can come back to normal. Where you feel, of which I am not sure that court and police may not help.
Yes, because of time.
Where you feel, you can have that.
Thank you so much. Now, one more, just one thing you want to say. Just what do you, in 1 minute, what's your take on marital rape? Just in a minute.
Yeah, thank you, moderator.
Just in a minute.
In Uganda, we don't have marital rape.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Madam Salima, what do you
Being
say?
a woman moderator, I pray you give me 2-3 minutes at least to say something
Because of
about
time,
this. Yes. Now, marital rape as it is, it is just non-consensual sex between a spouse and the other, between spouses. Now, as we stand in Uganda, I know people didn't ask, but it is always coming up. As it is in Uganda, we have no law that is enacted to handle this.
Very well.
But in my opinion, as a lady lawyer, I feel it really happens. It would amount to domestic violence or kind of some